So that was the first time that we'd taken on a role of providing advice as a formal organisation. We set ourselves up with a bank account and constitution, and thanks to Keith for organising that, and we officially became a climate action group. And that was September. In October, we had a couple of big events. We ran a Q&A event with John Howell MP. Again, massive, it was really brilliant to get such a great attendance from the community as a whole. And we collaborated with Icknield Community College to run an eco fair. And that was thanks to the efforts of Sophie, Andrea, and Jeanette. I think, hopefully I haven't missed anyone else. We made recommendations to the Watlington Parish Council.
There was Amber as well.
Oh, Amber, of course. Amber. We made recommendations to the Watlington Parish Council following their declaration of a climate emergency as to what we thought they should do, and we started monthly newsletters. Those recommendations to the Watlington Parish Council were also published in the Henley Standard, so we started to get some coverage. We also got coverage of the Eco Fair as well, so we were starting to get some press as well, so that was good. In November, we started turning our attention to Christmas coming up, and we ran an event, a craft event with upcycled Christmas decorations. Thanks to Emma for coming up with that particular design, which made it onto the front cover of Watlington Times. It was amazing. And also Andrea and Terry were involved with that. So promoting how to have a sustainable Christmas. Terry did organise the promotion with Babylon Nurseries to start off our tree planting project, which really helped to raise awareness of tree planting and the importance of that. And we kicked off Plastic Free Watlington project, all in 1 month. Then December, we actually had a stall at Watlington Christmas Fair. One of the I didn't really get a good photograph of it, which was a bit of a miss, but we've got shows some of the lovely examples of alternative Christmas wrapping that Terry did there. And we were also involved with the Christmas Tree Festival, and that was that's our absolutely stunning Christmas tree there. Really made an impact. Just such an amazing visual impact that really conveyed our key messages of upcycling and environmental awareness, and that was just terrific. It was the Eco Fair team pretty much pivoted to organise the Watlington Christmas Fair stall as well, so that was cool. And Alex got involved as a part of his Duke of Edinburgh Award and surveyed Watlington residents, which gave us an important base point for people's attitudes and current attitudes towards and what they're doing with regards to the environment. We spent quite a lot of time in December applying for National Lottery funding, which we didn't actually get, but it did help us think through some of the issues and what we're trying to achieve. So it was kind of helpful to go through that process. Lots of us were involved in that. I won't mention everybody's names, but you know who you are, and you know that. That was really great. We started to plan our events for 2020, and I think Terry and Kate, well, that was when you met Low Carbon Hub for the first time. So that was December, so a pretty busy December. We decided not to have an event on top of all of that, and we went for pub dinner, didn't we, in the Checkers, which was rather lovely. January came along, we decided to do 2 events in January, so quite ambitious. First of all, the Focus on Food event, if you think all the way back to then, that was fantastic. We had lots of people brought in their sustainable food items to eat, which we all enjoyed eating. Steph brought all these different alternatives to dairy milk, and we had a couple of presentations on foods. That was interesting. It was interesting to research it as well. Our other event, we watched the short film Fools and Dreamers, much more uplifting than trashed, and we had Professor Richard Harding come and give a talk about the facts of climate change, and that was to a really good crowd in the town hall. We also, thanks to Jenny, we got our first plastic-free champions signed up, Cowan & Brothers. And in the plastic-free group, we got lots of people within that group to send in little bits of video about easy things they can do, and created the Easy Things video, which got quite a number of views. Then February, we organised a group to go and see the 2040 screening in Wallingford. So we didn't really do very much in terms of having to organise our own event, but just going to see that film was great. And we applied for the council grant, which of course we actually did get that money, so that was great. 3 plastic-free champions in February: Angela, the Italian handbag company, and of course Steph. And it was in February that we really started to reach out and collaborate with other organisations within Watlington, so Art Weeks and Watlington Environment Group being the 2 main ones. March was, of course, coronavirus hit, so that's when things all started to change. But just before then, of course, we held the shortly before lockdown, we held the Green Plan kickoff event, which has been absolutely critical critical event in getting that tree planting type project off the ground. And Terry, despite the coronavirus, was still able to run socially distanced Watlington Spring Clean as part of Plastic Free Watlington. Then in April we completed the website brief, and then in response to the lockdown, we were able to put out a leaflet which Steph distributed to all her customers. Easy actions in lockdown, how to help combat the climate crisis at home. So a number of different easy ideas, and raising awareness of things that people can do, and also of our group. And it had the projects on the other side so people could see what we were up to. So it was a great awareness raising. We had the Dawn Chorus event, which we were going to have at the Chalk Pit, but we pivoted and had that as a dawn chorus in your own garden. And I thought nobody was going to come, but actually 16 people managed to get out of their beds that day. And not only that, I filmed it, and Mike Chadwick told me what the birds were, so we were able to create a film, which was then has been a resource for anyone to watch it and learn more and be inspired. And I think, having seen that, more people did get out of their beds and listen to the Dawn Chorus in May. We put together a revised plan of events in response to the coronavirus, which had meant that we couldn't run some of the things that we had been planning to run, so not to be deterred. Those events, we did start off with film screenings at home. The first one was Biggest Little Farm film screening, and then in June we followed that with the film festival From Your Sofa, which was two evenings of short films. Both of those we had online discussions afterwards to add value, and hopefully people enjoyed those. May was a really important month for Watlington Climate Action Group because for a couple of reasons. Firstly, we managed to persuade Fiona to act as the coordinator for the Green Plan, and I don't know what we would have done without Fiona pushing that forward, and it's just been amazing. So thank you very much to Fiona for that. And we recruited Satnam to the website, to do the website for us, which has also been brilliant, because Satnam is now on our steering group looking after social media and the website, which is, amazing. And I can't remember, I think it was around about May, that we started with the CAG art project, which Jules has been running mainly, with some input as well from Andrea, that's going to capture what we've been doing as a group, and hopefully have a record of that and communicate what we're doing through this really unusual and engaging exhibition. In June, we started to look at the reuse, recycle. We've been putting articles in the Watlington Times and on social media, but in June, Terry started the Waste Not Want Not group, which was one of our objectives, and that's been enormously successful. So well done to Terry for that. We started. The Hedgerow project has had a slow start, but that's when it originally started to get going, was in June. And also following on from the Green Plan meeting, that's when Eliza and Ian started doing their monthly wildlife gardening articles, which they are still doing, so that's fantastic. July, we weren't able, we wanted to do through Plastic Free Watlington, and we'd agreed with the co-op that we would do a mass unwrap event at the co-op. Unfortunately, we couldn't do that. So we did what we could by having a mass unwrap at home event and trying to promote that on social media and try and get some of those messages across. We did another film showing with fantastic fungi and an interesting discussion after that online. We were promoting Plastic Free July. And during this time and through the summer, we were doing the photography, the copy and the design for the website. August, we finally were able to present Tutu Delicious with their Plastic Free Champion Award. And we were continuing with the monthly newsletters and the Watlington Times content, trying to keep awareness up. And towards the end of August, we had, this wasn't a Watlington Climate Action Group event, but the Art Weeks event that took place promoted upcycling and had an environmental message, and I think that collaboration has been really, really important. So September, we're nearly through the year. In September, we launched the website, which I just think looks so professional and so appealing. I just think fantastic. We got a new Plastic Free Champion, so we're starting to engage with businesses again and starting to get some more awards through. Several members of our group have worked with Nick to input on the neighbourhood plan and strengthen the environmental objectives there, and we've really got going with the Hedgerow project. There was a kick-off meeting and online training, funding for the film was agreed, and the Green Plan has been meeting and moving forward as well. Then we started with the Nature Festival, thanks to Sophie for running that with help from various people I know, but Sophie's just been I can't believe all the work that Sophie's put into this. But that event that kicked it off, the Big Squeeze, was such a feel-good project and such a great message to put across to people. And then in October, one of the things we wanted to do was a repair cafe. Haven't been able to do that because of coronavirus. We've started to think about what a virtual repair cafe might look like, and I know that's something that we'll be doing more on in the coming months. Hedgerow training in the field, so there's our socially distanced hedgerow training going on, and that's been progressing brilliantly. We've got mapping of the hedgerows in the parish where the survey is going to be taking place is now complete, and I'm working on the filming this week. Got another Plastic Free Champion. You might know this one, Jazzman Records, our very own Gerald Short. We've done what we can to make Jazzman Records plastic free. And Nature Festival, there's just so many events. Apart
from the records, yeah.
Apart from the records. But at least they're not shrink wrapped anymore. So. Nature Festival, loads of events that Sophie has organised, and having put our recommendations to the parish council a year ago, there's now a climate advisory group made up of 2 steering group members and 2 parish councillors, and one of those is on both, Terry. So that looks like it's going to make progress. So since the last AGM, we've done 13 newsletters, and I counted up 25 articles in the Watlington Times. So we're really getting our message through on that. We've run 15 public events, and on top of that, we've been involved or attended a further 5 events. We've collaborated with at least 5 groups. I didn't count the meetings because there would be hundreds. There's risk assessments, thanks to Jeanette, must have done, you know, dozens of those, and all the nitty gritty. Dealing with the insurance and the finance, which Keith has done. So that's just been an amazing year. So before we go on to the rest of this little presentation, I just wanted everybody to give themselves a massive round of applause, because you've been incredible. Can't hear any clapping.
I think you deserve a special thank you.
Yes, you do.
Articles
Yeah,
and photography and filming.
Oh,
I agree. Well done, and well done for putting that together for us. It's only by virtue of the fact that you're recording what happens on a monthly basis with the newsletters and with the articles that you're able to put that together. So
I was able to put it together quite, yeah, it was, I looked at the story so far document that I keep updated and made it quite easy, but then I just wanted to really share that, how much we have done in 1 year.
it's amazing.
It's amazing.
How many plastic-free champions do we have?
Quite a few, 4,
Quite
5,
a few.
6,
Yeah.
6-ish.
There are about 8 in there.
Yeah, 4, 5. There was 5 with photographs, the lovely stuff, and Jasmine have been approved. So that's 7. 7, yeah. And there's more in the pipeline. So hopefully.
Can I ask, is Robin going to be one of those? The granary?
He's nearly.
He's done so much, though. He must have
Yeah.
done more than 3. I mean, maybe he's not completed the thing, but he's done an enormous amount of work to reduce his plastic.
I'm sure he has. There are some issues with some of the things that he's done that the Service Against Sewage Group won't accept. So they won't accept vegware, for example.
Ah, I see. Okay.
Which is a real pain, because I mean, it's got to be better than cling film and actual plastic, but because it can't be recycled easily, they don't accept it.
Anyway, I just want to carry on. I want
just a welcome to Angela, who's joined the meeting.
Hi, Angela. I just wanted to go back to what we said that we would do last year, and how we've been doing on that, because we've done lots and lots of stuff, but have we done what we said we would do? So at this time last year, we said there are 5 key ideas or areas that are our priority areas that we want to focus on. The first one was reduce and reuse. So I think we have done quite well on this. We've done Plastic Free Watlington, which is part of that. The Buy Nothing group, which we said we'd do, and we've done. We are still working on the repair cafe and looking to do, I think doing a virtual repair cafe is a project, and we've been promoting it on social media and through Watlington Times. So that was the first thing we said we'd do, and I think we've got more to do, but we have done what we said we'd do. The second one, which I think was felt to be a really, really important one, was WCAG education and support for individual action, because so many of the ideas that were put forward were things that you could do as individuals rather than as an organisation. So we thought last year, we said what would be really important to support that would be a website, which we have done, and that we would run an eco fair. I mean, we were calling it a nature, we were calling it something else, but it was essentially an eco fair at the time. So we ran that, and we've done numerous articles and events in the community to try and raise awareness. So I think it's really important that we continue that social media presence, and with writing blogs and having Satnam on board. I think that will really help continue our work to promote things in the Watlington Times and run events as we can. That's all all drip feeding into Watlington. So people that maybe don't get involved in our group directly can still be involved in making a difference as individuals. The third one, energy use and efficiency of home. What we said we would do was that we would have an advice bureau, and that we would lobby for building standards, and we would seek to fund funding to improve the efficiency of homes. We haven't really got going with this one yet, because one of the things we've realised is that the projects take a lot longer than we thought they would, but I think this is something we've done a little bit of it with our responding to that planning proposal, and talking to Nick and the neighbourhood plan, but this is something that hopefully we will do more of next year. The fourth one was tree planting. That has morphed to a considerable degree into the green plan, which is obviously quite a big thing, but we have already delivered some tree planting through the Babylon plant scheme, so that was really worth doing. The final one, transport, we thought it might be good to have a car sharing app, but what we've actually done is said there's already a transport group, Watlington Transport Group, looking at these kind of issues, so that was taken off our list of things to do. So that's what we said we'd do. I just want to go through a couple of key points. So we have covered this a little bit, but we've got an amazing team, and this is because we've all worked really well together and worked really hard to put all of that together. One of the other things was we are at our most effective when we collaborate with other organisations, and our collaboration with the Watlington Environment Group and with Weeks are particularly important. So if we can do more of that and really try and harness the whole power of the community, that's a way forward for us, I think. Yes, projects take much longer to complete than we thought. We've also, it's important that we stay focused and don't overcommit, because there's so much going on. We can only do so much, and we don't want to feel overwhelmed or that it's a burden. We have to keep things at a level, and it's really important to actually deliver what we say we're going to deliver. So that's staying focused, key learning thing. And to do more, because there's a limit to what we can do individually. We need to engage more people, but we need to do that in a way that works for them, so that they don't feel they're going to get sucked in and have to have a huge and have to contribute a huge amount of time. So that's why I think if we can get that message out with the bite-sized volunteering message, that you can just do the amount that fits in with your life and your interests, and that there's no pressure to do more than that. And the final thing was it's important to have fun, and I think, well, I've had a great time this year. I mean, it's been a lot of fun. I've enjoyed a lot of the events that we've run and working on this project, and sometimes we've had cake, so that's been good. Yeah. So the next thing was in terms of our next steps, and just a very high level, we can go into this in more detail, but probably not tonight. We can have a little bit of a discussion. I do want to have a little bit of a discussion, but the way that I think we're pretty much on track. We did a lot of work at the very beginning when we set up this project to gather those ideas together, to do that analysis, do that brainstorming and prioritization of ideas, and I think that's worked really well. I don't think we've finished with any of those projects really, so I think we need to continue with plastic-free Watlington. We are on the cusp of accreditation, but even once we have accreditation from Surface Against Sewage for plastic-free Watlington, I think that's not, well, we'll just give up then. There's other objectives, such as it'd be really great to have plastic-free High Street, but we need to keep that message in the public eye as that. We're going to continue with the Green Plan projects. We've started a couple, but there's a lot more to come online. Continue with our communications, continue with the programme of events, and then in terms of the sort of newer stuff, developing a cafe, kicking off the new green plan projects, such as road verges and community orchards or other things that may come online, and kicking off the homes and energy project next year, I think are the key things. And I think that's the end of that section.
Could you go back? Could you go back to the previous slide, please?
That one?
No, just
that one?
No, after.
That one?
After.
Sorry, that one.
Yes, sorry.
This is the one I was just on.
No, yeah, sorry.
What do people think to this?
It's good. Actually, I had a couple of comments. You do know that what the group has done this year, you've done with one hand tied behind your back.
Say that again, Sam.
I'm just saying, we've spent 2/3 of the year locked.
Oh, yeah.
So imagine if we hadn't been. Huge kudos. I mean, I've come in quite late, and what I'm seeing here is, there's been so many restrictions in what the group could have done over the year, and what we've achieved is huge.
Yeah.
Well, I think we've been quite creative in getting around that restriction,
Yeah.
holding a lot of online events and small events. I think that's key to not try anything too large at the moment, because you just run into all the restrictions and regulations around large groups.
Yeah, and I think the small events are palatable. And they can be revisited in a larger scale next year. I think that's the way to go.
Yeah.
I think it's also allowed us to be more focused. So the fact that we've had restrictions means that we've basically said, well, we won't try and start something else then. We'll just say that we can do that next year. The Homes and Energy project really is the key one there, because we intended to start that this autumn, but it wouldn't have been realistic. And we've learned a lot about how to, the green plan, which was tree planting and is now an enormous project in its own right, is way bigger than we envisaged at the beginning. So we've got more focus, but we've also got more breadth. So I think it's worked quite well, I think, because the way that we've had to communicate with each other has meant that some of those things have happened a bit differently, but actually perhaps it's for the best. I think the green plan is going on really successfully. Yes.
Definitely.
So thanks for that, Nicola. Is it possible for Satnam to have a quick present of his data before he legs it at 9 o'clock? Is that all right? Only because I can't really present his metrics.
No, that's in the next. In the next section, and Satnam could start the first one. He could be the first project status update.
So this is also this is also linked on our Zoom chat. So if you want to get to it there, you can. It's in a Google Drive now as well. Let me just sort my screen out, and we can quickly go through this. So the data will change over the next few months in terms of how we use it and what we look at. Right now, I just literally took a few shots just to see what data is there. But the key thing is how we use it. It does give us great data around how our information is consumed, when it's consumed, where the spikes are in terms of what's of interest. There's more coming in terms of the redirects, in terms of where that traffic's coming from, whether it's a link from Facebook to the website. The blogs are really making a lot of noise, and I'll show you that in a minute. And I haven't got the data for Instagram yet, but again, it's growing. We get about 2 new followers a week. But I'll come into that in more detail later. So this has been the sort of trend. You can see that the current traffic is the blue line, but behind it is a slightly fainter one, and that was the spikes you're seeing is our blog posts, pretty much, and also at weekends we see a lot of traffic at weekends. Whether we do when we had the Apple the Squeeze event, We had a lot of traffic from the event from the weekend for the well-being one. But these will all be 30-day snapshots. And again, I'll go through it quickly, but you can consume it in more detail from the link if you follow that link. This is not very clear, but again, look into it. This gives us, in here, there is data around what pages took the biggest hits, what events. The well-being's one, it was nearly 100 hits. The blog site gets a lot of traffic. Again, it would do. It's changing. That's where a lot of our change is occurring and a lot of interest is occurring there. And of course, we're linking to it from Facebook. The other interesting one is how it was being consumed. In terms of a PC, a phone, a tablet. There is other data which I haven't shown here, which is around geography, around where it's being consumed. It doesn't give you addresses, but it'll tell you if it's local traffic or slightly further away. And again, what I'll do, because this is just PNGs of the actual report, I'll pull these up in more detail so you can actually read them and have them in that same folder where this presentation is. There were some really juicy bits of information. This was the split. So your blue's the desktop, your yellow's the mobile, your green sliver is the tablet. So the first column is primarily the site itself, and then the rest of it's broken down in terms of the blog. The second one is I think it's Wellbeing Workshop. The next one, by the looks of it, was the big squeeze. So you can see, what's generating the traffic. And again, this will be really useful to find out, how to get these higher and get the engagement more, far greater going forward. And I think I've got one more. Oh yeah. So this is when folks actually come to our site, which I thought was quite interesting. And what this will do is help us and guide us as to when to post, or when to even repost to get folks to come back if they've missed it through the week. There's another one which I haven't updated here, which is the time of day. Interestingly enough, we're quite busy between 6 and 7 a.m. I think the locals are up and about. They're on their phone and they're looking, just looking at content. Weekend is busy. So, again, dig through this. But again, it's going to guide us as to when to post more than anything else. In terms of topics, I think we've, what's ahead of us, even this week and the following weeks, we now know there's some, a little bit of detail as to when to post and what platforms to use to get that traffic built up. And that's it. Quick and simple.
So predominantly people are accessing the stuff through their mobile phones, it looks like. Yeah.
Right? This is, so around about here, that's 9 a.m. So anything, behind here, and actually even evenings, late, midnight, there's traffic.
But on the previous slide, there's a lot more yellow, isn't there?
Oh, yeah. I mean, that's some stats to be expected, but it's just over half. So the majority is desktop, but again, it's just a good day.
But it looks like the blogs are predominantly mobile phone. Is that right? The blogs tend to be more mobile phone access. Yeah. Because they're social media linked, right? Exactly,
because we link it to Facebook, and that's a notification platform, and actually that'll come out in the marketing strategy in more detail. There are some platforms that are notifiers. So Instagram, Facebook, they do push notifications. Our website doesn't. So we have to leverage those to get content out and change out for folks who are not just generally monitoring the site. Unless you've contributed into the blog at any given time as a comment or anything, you won't get a notification on new blogs being created. You do get an email because you might have commented on a blog a few weeks ago. So again, that's an area where we're going to try and get more interaction and get that adoption.
Sat now, can I ask, do you need to log in to be able to add or comment or create a blog?
All you got to do is when you create a blog, yes. Commenting against the blog, no. You just go in. It asks for your name and your email address. That's it.
Right.
And then after that, it basically the site creates you an account based upon those credentials. So when you ever revisit, it knows who you are, and you can create comments. Blog posts will drive that through the marketing strategy document in terms of how that's done. And you know, there's a couple of guys in the group that do have accounts, but they actually haven't created anything yet. But right now, what we try and do there is we create the content, draft it, and then if needed, we just schedule it for release.
So does somebody do the moderating?
Exactly, yeah. So at the moment, it's primarily Nicola and myself, and I think Kate gets involved from time to time, depending on the topic. But they just come in on email. I think I've had a couple. I think Terry supplied one, Andrea. So Sophie been very busy. So yeah, you just send them in, and we just require a picture or a graphic or something to go with it. And if it's an event or something relevant, that's the way to take it.
Can I comment? Thank you very much for all this. That's very useful. I'm going to need a bit of training with posting on social media. Not very much, but more recently, I've posted some items and not linked them to the website because some of the postings I had done before, which were linked to the website, showed our logo first, which was not what I intended. And so, Fatnan, if I could have a bit of training on that, that would be really good.
Yes, sure.
Yeah. Yes, I've ended up with one of the postings having the logo first, which is not what I wanted. Anyway, I'll speak to you separately on that.
Yeah, we can change that. Okay, that's not a problem. All right.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's
Thank
it.
you, Alan. Thanks, brilliant.
Thanks very much, Satnam.
Okay.
Amazing. Thank you. Yeah.
Fiona. Where's she gone?
Just to quickly add that in terms of an update on the website as it stands, that we do still have to advertise for social media, as I was saying at the beginning, that action in the minutes, that we have to put in draft the wording for an advert to get an Amber replacement that Satnam can mentor to monitor the social media.
Okay, so if we can note that as an ongoing action in the minutes.
Yeah.
Okay.
And there's the repair cafe as well at some point that we need to put on the website as well.
Yeah. Okay, so Fiona, would you like to give a quick update on the green plan?
Yep, certainly. Well, you specifically mentioned the hedgerow survey here. That seems to be going really well. Charlotte, is her surname Moss? I think it is.
Yes, Charlotte Moss.
Has done the most amazing map of the hedges in the parish, which Nigel Adams was quite surprised about the extent of the hedgerows within the parish. He just hadn't realised. So that was incredibly helpful, and we're hoping that she will be playing a key role in doing a phase 1 mapping exercise of the sort of habitats within the parish. I know she's had a meeting with Robert last week, and also that she has met with Paul Sayers. I have yet to speak to Charlotte. I meant to do so today and I didn't have a chance. Sorry, that's a slight aside, but quite important, because without that phase 1 mapping process, we don't know what habitats we have in the parish, or we don't know enough about them. And we need that. We need to know that before we can start thinking about, okay, we know we want to plant some trees. Where are the best places to do it? We don't want to destroy good habitats that we've got by planting trees. I know that might sound a bit odd, but if we've got really nice grassland habitats, you don't necessarily want to be planting trees there. So to go back to the hedgerows, Nigel has run 3 sessions, initial survey training sessions. Last weekend he ran a further session, and then there's 1 more this coming weekend, and then hopefully all the volunteers will be trained up, ready to go out and carry out hedge surveys. I imagine with a certain amount of continuing support from Nigel. They've been very good from my experience of 1 course, and the next stage before we can go out and actually do the surveys is to get landowner permissions. We know we're not going to get all of the landowners to agree to this, but despite that, we should still be able to survey most of the hedgerows in the parish, either because we have permission or because it so happens there's a right of way or a road alongside the hedgerows anyway. So, and then ultimately, why are we doing this? We need to know about the quality of the hedgerows that we've got in the parish before we can then go on to think about how can we improve those hedgerows as wildlife habitats. There may be opportunities to lay the hedges, to fill in gaps and plant trees and shrubs within those hedgerows. And I also like to think there'll be opportunities to create new hedgerows.
Thank you.
So I think that's about it, unless anyone has anything to add.
Let's move on, if we can, to Terry for a quick update on plastic free.
Yes, well, there's not a lot to report because you stole my thunder.
Sorry.
you already announced that that lovely stuff has won their award. That's just arrived in the post to me, so we'll try and get that to you to share with them and get pictures. There was something else.
The
town hall, that we are really close to becoming a plastic-free town. We just need 1 more community space to say that they will go plastic-free and to do 3 actions. And I'm on the town hall trustee body, and had asked at the last meeting to become plastic-free on their agenda, but they put it off until I was actually going to be there.
So when is that, Terry? When's that?
I don't know when the next meeting is. They're not monthly, so it's a shame.
Yeah.
There's also the churches to approach, isn't there, Terry?
There is the churches. I need to contact Daniel. So, I mean, that might be another quicker option.
Okay. Thank you. Nature Festival. We'll put Nature Festival under events, so we won't do that there. We'll just, while you're there, Terry, the Repair Cafe. Yeah, Repair Cafe.
As Andrea mentioned, we need to have a meeting with Andrea and Satnam to decide what format exactly on the website it will take. But we are coming up with some sort of repair cafe or waste not want not site. Make do amend, that's the other phrase.
Yeah, so if that could be noted as an action as well on the minutes, and that's still something that needs to happen.
We've got a number of people who have said they're prepared to be repairers, and they've also, several of them have said they'll give us some hot tips.
Yeah, which is great. So we can put those as blogs or whatever. But how it actually looks on the website, in making it a virtual website, I think virtual repair cafe is a really good step forward.
Yeah.
If we can move on to the Brickwell Road development hedgerow statement, Fiona, it's back to you.
It's a bit of a mouthful, isn't it? We're nearly there with this. Thank you so much to Terry and Keith for kicking this off, actually, and putting pen to paper in the first instance. And then I thought it would be good to get technical input from Nigel and also input from Robert. And they have both done that now, and Roselle made 1 or 2 comments as well. So I have tried to cobble together a statement, and we're very nearly there with it. We just need to clarify one or two more things. I do need, Terry, where do I send it and when's the deadline?
The deadline is the 28th.
But that
oh, fine, okay. Well,
they may decide to make. They may make a decision before that, though. So the sooner we can do it, the better.
The sooner ASAP, but the official deadline is the 28th.
Yeah.
Well, if you know where to send it, is it just better when I've just done this last thing about the numbering and when I've just finally heard back from Robert that he's happy with another tweak I did? It should be done tomorrow. Should I just forward it to you and then you send it on to wherever it needs to go?
Could do. It's just SODC planning.
It's just SODC planning.
Yes, it could be put. I think we could be put it. Make the comments on their website, can't we?
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
So, and the hedge. I hope you're now clear about the hedge numbering, Fiona.
Well, it is a bit confusing, and I think it wasn't helped by the fact I was never able to access the map.
No, I sent you the two links. Yeah, I sent you a link to the two documents.
Brilliant, thank you.
But,
Fiona, if you can put
one document it's H4 and in the other document it's H5. So as long as
they're the ones who are confusing it then?
Yeah, they're the ones. It's the same company that have done both surveys, the arboricultural baseline survey and the ecological appraisal, and they've used different numbering in their own own appraisal. So yeah, it is confusing.
Doesn't inspire confidence, does it?
No. The parish council, the neighbourhood plan advisory board are advising the parish council to comment and about the hedge as well.
Right.
There's a few other environmental matters.
Is it worth forwarding it also to Jill? I mean, I thought that she was liaising with the environmental officer.
I have.
Okay. Oh, perfect.
That's how we've managed to. We had a neighbourhood plan advisory board meeting, which Jill chairs, and I said to her, "This really, I think it should be included," because she hadn't included it in her statement. So it is now included.
Brilliant. Thanks, Terry.
Fiona, are you going to put if you can upload the final statement onto the shared drive?
Yeah, I will do.
I think because of the lack of time, we won't ask everyone to review it. I think it's been reviewed by quite a number of people from our group.
Yeah, exactly. But I thought it's really good if WCAG are happy to put their name to it, which was why I was particularly keen that Robert had an input, and actually in the end he and Nigel did input significantly, which is great. I mean, it's really good partnership working.
Yeah,
brilliant, well done.
We should make that clear when we send it that it is from several groups.
Oh, it is.
It says at the top. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. The next one was neighbourhood plan review. I think we may have lost Nick though, have we? Can't see him on my screen.
Oh, he may have left the meeting.
I think he's left.
Well, he had said he might not be able to attend the meeting, and could we tell you what was said at the neighbourhood plan advisory board meeting? So he had come up with a document where he's consulted yourselves and other people, and he is now going to go and meet up with
Tony Powell, and rehash the document to make it better, and then come back, and we'll probably then send it out to a wide group of groups.
Terry, who's Tony Powell?
He's part of the Neighbourhood Plan Advisory Board.
Okay.
A co-opted member. He's not a councillor, but he's co-opted. Lives on Hill Road opposite the Carriers.
Okay.
Fine spoken.
Thank you.
Sorry.
That's great. The next one was bite-sized volunteers, and I think our bite-sized volunteer has also left. Emma.
Yeah, she seemed to leave quite early, so I'm not quite sure what's happened there.
No.
Okay. Well, she's our first bite-sized volunteer. I'm just so pleased about this. We discussed at some point, had some conversations ages and ages ago, that it'd be good if we could lay a wreath this year. This conversation was definitely before the coronavirus. It was probably last November. I think it struck me when I was photographing the event that we weren't there, and maybe that we should be as a community group. But this is an example of the type of thing that we can, rather than trying to do everything ourselves, if we can reach out to the Facebook group and ask people, look, can somebody take this on? It not only reduces the pressure on us as individuals and everything that we're doing, but it also helps to engage more people if they're actually doing stuff. If we can find small little things that other people can do, then as a bite-sized volunteer, that's brilliant. And it doesn't sound like much, going and organising the wreath for the Remembrance Day, but it does involve a fair bit of chasing around, making phone calls, and just to have that off with Emma. Emma's looking after it, she's doing it, don't have to worry about it. You know, it's great not to have that on my to-do list or anybody else's. And it's great to have Emma involved. So that was our only one. But please, when you are if you've got something and you're struggling to do it because you've got so much on your plate, please think about reaching out to the group and saying, I need a bite-sized volunteer. So far, from our appeal for bite-sized volunteers, we've got 2. And one of them I'm not sure is that keen. So
is that nibble size then?
We've got Emma, and the other one was Frances, but I'm not sure that she's going to really be able to do much.
Which Frances? Ackland Snow? Or?
Yeah, Ackland Snow, yeah.
Well, I mean, it depends on what we mean by bite-sized volunteer. Are we talking about someone who does a small thing, which is repeated over a period of time, or can it be a one-off?
Anything, either. It can either be a one-off thing, or it can be.
Yeah. It can to be a one-off usually.
And of course, because what Frances has done, for instance, for the Nature Festival is very important, in my opinion.
Well, that is kind of a bite-sized volunteer thing to do. Yeah. So
yeah. There's also Alex who volunteered at the.
Yes, I was going to mention him. Yeah.
In fact, so what I'd like to do, and I've got a list on the shared drive, is to capture the details of people who are registered bite-sized volunteers, people that we can actually go and say, hey, I really need a bite-sized volunteer, could you do this? So if you're talking to people and you say, and somebody says, oh, you know, I'd like to get involved in your group, but I don't have enough time, can you suggest to them, would you consider going on our bite-sized volunteer list? And then you can just do a little tiny bit, and there'll be no pressure to do more, but you might, if you want to be involved in a small way, then you can be, and there are ways to do that. So try and keep a record, and then try and use those people, because the more people do stuff, then the more they probably will want to do as well. So I think that's really important, and that's a key thing, I think, for this year. That was bite-sized volunteers. Next one, Christmas Tree Festival. Terry. You're on mute. Terry.
Oh, sorry.
Christmas Tree Festival.
Oh, Christmas Tree Festival. Right. Well, again, that's an action. We're due to meet tomorrow, I think, as long as Andrea's feeling okay, to finalise just how we're going to decorate the tree. Not much more to report, is there, Andrea?
Well, basically just to say that we've got the letter G, and that we're hoping that the tree, that the theme of the tree will be the green plan. And so therefore we'll also then attribute it to the other organisations who are collaborating on that project, but that it is essentially our climate action group tree.
Yes, I think 3 hours, but we can say in the blurb about it that the project is a collaborative project, and that way I think we will alleviate Robert Barber's concerns on that.
Yes, well, it was me. I just suddenly thought, well, look, because I didn't want it to look like we were just taking ownership of the green plan, even though, as you said, we did initiate it, but it is a collaborative event, and I think it's important that we stress that.
Yeah. Okay, so it's our tree, but it's a collaborative event. And low carbon hub, Terry, and the update on that.
The update on that is, unfortunately, Kate wasn't successful. It was our kitchen who got the post, but they're hoping that the other 2, they said it was very close, and so they're hoping that the other 2 candidates would still be around to help with low carbon hub.
You was robbed.
Well, thank you all, because Nicola explained to me the lengths you all went to make sure that you made the right decision. I really appreciate that, and I wasn't expecting you to spend that much time thinking about it. I've spoken to Kathy already, and she is going to let Al get his feet under the table, and then they're going to be in touch and ask me to get involved. She already told me the name of the project she wants my help with, but it's not there. I don't know what it is. Something to do with Project Leo, which is the micro energy generation local grids. So that's quite interesting, because I'm actually looking at sort of micro, house scale renewable technologies. So that might be quite interesting to be involved in a project like that. So anyway, thank you for your efforts. I'm sorry I couldn't attend the meeting, but it was Josh's birthday and we had family around. Yes, and she said it was very close.
Yeah,
I'm sure.
Yes, anyway, there we go.
Oh, that's, well done. So that's on other update. If I can share my screen now, we'll go on to talking about events. Okay, so events, I think events really are so important, as we've discussed. So October Nature Festival, Sophie, you've put so much work into this. Do you need anything from the steering group at this stage? Do you want to give an update on what we're doing and what's happening with that?
Okay, we are still in the middle of it, so I'm at a point where I can't really give an overall impression. So in total, it's a month-long program with 10 events, which started. The first one started at the end of September, and the last one will be next week on the 28th of October. And it's been quite wide-ranging, which has been very good. So far, the 3 events that we have run were sold out, so that's great. The ones coming up, obviously, I don't know yet. What I have picked up from that is that usually people decide to attend a day or 2 before the event itself. And this requires quite a lot of promotion and effort, but it's obviously worthwhile. Now, just to remind you about the main aims of the festival, the first one is obviously engaging with nature. All the events are outdoor, not just because of COVID, but also because being outdoor is what it's all about, being close to nature and learning from it, involving young people, and also doing something. So for instance, the well-being workshop is about being in nature, being with other people, but also, for instance, doing watercolor during the workshops. You're actually doing something. You're reflecting your emotions, you're reflecting your thoughts. So these are the 4 aims, and for every event we are doing, we are trying to make sure that this is happening. Now, the learnings from that so far is that we need to use people where they're good at. So for instance, Frances has been amazing with doing the well-being workshop, and she's going to do another one. She was the one who volunteered to do the second one, and I think that's because obviously it was well attended, but also she had no admin to do. I did all of that for her, so she could concentrate on what she's good at. So I think if we remember that in the future, that would be really good. Another thing which I've learned so far is that people at the moment, despite COVID, want to see something else. They want to go into other towns. They want to visit. So, for instance, when we had last Saturday, when we had the Viking Silver, we had people who came from Great Missenden as well as other places. Other people came from Wellington as well, but I think there's a great desire for people to actually visit and not just stay in Wellington. And I think it's something we need to remember for future events, as well as the ones that are just about to come, is that possibly welcoming our neighbors from close villages could be a good thing to do as well. So not just remain focused on Wellington. Now, another thing that's come up is what status we have as Wellington Climate Action Group. We're not a charity, we're not a company. And at the moment with COVID regulation, it is making it a bit difficult sometimes to decide as to how many people can attend or not. So trying to get clarity on that is going to help us massively in the future. Fundraising has probably not been the best thing. We have managed to fundraise, but not probably about 120 pounds so far. And obviously this was not meant to be a fundraising program. So that's maybe something I should remember and not feel bad about that. We talked about influencers earlier, for instance, the Wellington Art Group, as well as the Environment Group. There's another one which I think we need to bear in mind, and there's a Chilterns Conservation Board. Because they've got many contacts, Annette being one of them, obviously, but also they spread quite wide, and working with Annette has been enlightening as to what we can do or not. So I think it would be a good idea maybe in future to engage with them again. Now, we talked about bite-sized volunteering. As I think Andrea said it, Alex Fuster has been amazing and has helped with the Big Squeeze, the Apple event, as well as the Viking Silver, where he really shone with his involvement throughout, but also showing that his knowledge of history is far greater than mine and really benefited the event as well. I asked him at the end of the event if he could also write a small article on the Viking Silver event, which would be a way for him to reflect, but also to get the perspective of someone who is obviously younger, but also someone who is not actually involved with us on a daily basis. So I think that would be really good. I've also approached another young person, but I haven't had a reply on that one. And for that person to give us, to possibly write an article about the whole program, about the whole nature festival. I'm not sure, we'll have to see what happens on that one. So that's that. With regards to stats, obviously we know that there's going to be 10 events in total. I will eventually put some stats together about how many people have attended, the grants, donations, that kind of thing. I think that's going to be very useful to do that. That's all I have to say so far. Yep.
Thank you. Yeah, brilliant effort.
Amazing. Yeah, well done, Sophie.
Yeah, well done.
Well, it's a big team. It's a big team effort. I'm very grateful for many people have said yes, and I think it's also opened up. I think it's also opened up ideas for future events, which would be great.
Yeah.
Without the COVID, it will be an amazing experience. I think so many more people would have been involved, and it really would have. You know, we could have done so much more with it. It's an amazing idea, and I think it's got a big future. I really do.
I think so. I think what's been very good is that we started small, but we also had to think really, really hard. And for instance, I think suddenly thinking about having the Viking silver, the Washington Hold, as part of the event, I think actually was a really good thing, because it meant that the event itself was appealed to a greater range of people. And the archaeologists who came on the day, Kim Bjorndorf, talked about geology, she talked about obviously history, she talked about chemistry. I mean, it was amazing. You know, it was so rich, and yet you didn't realize you were absorbing all that information. And at the same time, you could get involved, you could carve a bit of chalk, you could do some sword fighting, and it was very diverse. So what I think the learning from that, yes, nature, yes, environment, but you know, putting a bit of history into it as well, for instance, or something else, it doesn't matter what it is, can make it even more palatable for people.
I think she also said she'd be willing to be involved in a Viking festival, like a day festival in future, which could be part, you know, incorporated as part of the nature festival in you know, in next year or the year, no, probably 2022 now. But that would be fun to do, yeah.
Sophie, were you aware that October is the anniversary of the hoard being discovered?
No, I didn't.
Oh wow, even better then. Because I was thinking that probably October half term would be the perfect time to hold it, really.
Yeah.
That's interesting, because when we held the first wellbeing workshop, I was completely unaware that that day was also something like International Wellbeing Day as well.
It was International. It was Mental Health Day.
Yeah, sorry, you're right. Yeah.
Okay, let's move on to Remembrance Day. We spoke about the Emma's organising this. Andrea is, of course, making the most amazing wreath by the looks of things, out of recycled. How do you come up with these things? Out of the bottoms of plastic bottles, painted red to look like poppies. From what I could see, it's going to look incredible, and I really like the fact that we are doing a wreath in collaboration with Art Weeks, and I think that's really part of our ethos, to collaborate with other groups. So I'm very happy that we're doing that together, and Kate and Jane will be going to lay that wreath. I'll be taking photographs. It's going to be quite a strange event. But I think it'll be quite a powerful one. So that's Remembrance Day. The next.
Can I say something there, Nicola?
Yes.
I've Sarah Shepherd's had this idea, and she asked me to make a video of how to make the poppies. So Jules has filmed it, and I've made this video. So we're going to share it, and hopefully the idea is that we'll encourage people to make them at home and to display them outside in their gardens, in their windows. So even though we can't have a big event, at least we can perhaps encourage an upcycling event for Remembrance Day.
That's a really good idea.
That's an excellent idea.
That's really wonderful. And of course we can promote that on our blogs and so on.
Nicola, is the date the 7th or the 14th? The 8th or the 15th?
The 8th.
The 8th.
Yeah.
We have to make clear that there won't be a gathering at the...
There won't be a gathering, that's right.
Yeah, I'm aware.
Yeah. Just to carry on, the recycling talk, Jeanette. Is Jeanette here?
Yes.
So you've got the lady, you're going to confirm with her?
Yes, Kabir.
Yeah.
I have confirmed it with her, but it was a while ago, so I will do that again as we're getting close to the actual date. Yeah.
And also, we need somebody to help with the promotion on this, don't we?
That would be good. I'm just not clear. It needs something to go on Facebook. You know, something to attract a wider range of people as possible. Wherever else we can advertise it, really. I've noticed Chinna have done exactly the same event. and they advertised it, I think, through various networks, such as yeah, I don't know. Somehow I managed to get an invite anyway. So if we can think of different ways that we can reach people, that would be good.
Ideally, we need a poster designed, and it can go. I could do a poster on social. I could do a poster on Canva, to maybe, but it'd be great if we could have some help with.
I think when it comes to promotion, that's the learning I got from the Nature Festival, is to try and do something very positive. I think that's what attracts people.
Perhaps
so for instance,
perhaps this is something we could get a bite-sized volunteer to do, make a poster.
Yes. Okay, let's ask if somebody could. Okay.
Once we've got the poster, we upload that to Facebook then, or yeah, basically that's it. That's the bit I'm just not sure how to do that. I'm sure it's. I'd like to learn how to do it though. So yeah.
Or
yes, the best thing is to. My understanding is the best thing is to save it as a photo. Because then it will actually show properly on Facebook, and you just insert it as a photo on Facebook with a bit of commentary, and then the photo comes up. Whereas if, say, you have saved your document as a PDF, for instance, it will not show as a photo on Facebook, which is less appealing, obviously.
Who did the Eco Fair poster?
Last year? I can't remember.
Yeah.
Maybe the school did that.
Oh, it was the school. Yes, it was a girl at school.
Oh, was it Laura?
Was it?
She's the daughter of someone who lives in Benson, and they used to run a fish and chip shop in Wellington.
Nikita.
That's right.
Yeah, it was Nikita.
Okay, she's. I can't really ask her. Okay, well, all right. Let's put on a.
Just to say that I've got the ability via work to convert PDFs into JPEGs if you need that for images, and so I could do some tweaking if somebody needs some help with that, if that's of any help.
Okay. I think Jeanette, if you could ask Satnam about help with social media, perhaps ask him if we can get in the materials. Anyone else want to have a go at making a poster on Canva before, or shall I just ask if, or as a backup? I shall just ask the Facebook group then. Right. Okay.
For the record, I don't mind doing posters, but it's a good way of getting someone else involved.
Perhaps the school could do one.
I think it's a good idea.
Maybe
I think
Alex
it's a really
knows
good
someone.
I don't know about. I wouldn't want to wait for the school because I think they're all so busy.
Yeah.
Tight after COVID.
It's very tricky at the moment. Yes, I agree.
Yeah, we haven't got that.
Advertising for a bite-sized volunteer.
Yeah, we'll ask. We'll try getting a bite-sized volunteer as our first option, and then once we've got that, then there's also once we've got the design, there's also getting it printed out, getting it, up around town perhaps as well.
Oh, do you think put it physically up around town? Yeah.
I think that would help.
Yeah. No, that's a good idea. We haven't done that for a while.
No, we haven't.
Okay.
I think it might be an idea to try and source some waterproof paper so we don't actually have to laminate.
Yeah.
Anyway.
It's a good idea.
Yeah. Well, that would be good. Or if not, what I did last time is just put it in reuse. Well, what do you call them?
Plastic wallets, little wallets.
It's not brilliant.
Or just give it to shops to have, or people on the high street to have inside.
Yes.
The library quite often will.
Yeah. And Callan's and.
They won't do. Most of them will accept.
Yeah. I'm happy to don't
it's
answer.
so sustainable. Jeanette, can you put it up on this? Can you put it up in there? So sustainable, or just even on as a chalk thing? There's a sustainable board.
Oh, that's a good idea. Yeah.
We've got that. And Sophie, you've been using that for the Nature Festival, haven't you?
Other stuff done. I've gone to most shops, and not all of them, but so Sprocket Science has been amazing. What else? The Granary, So Sustainable, Calnan, the library as well.
Yeah.
The Orange Bakery is a very important one. Because
Okay.
people do queue up a long time, so they have plenty of time to read it.
Okay.
It might be an idea to try the parish council notice board on the
As well.
undercross.
Yeah. So for that we need to give the posters directly to the parish council, because Bob has the keys to the board.
Well, they can print them out as well. They can be printed out at the parish council.
So I'm really happy to do all of that, but what I'm not that confident with is actually doing the poster. So if I can just get the poster, then I can do all the running around and putting it up.
Oh, brilliant. Jeanette, if we can't get a bite-sized volunteer to do it, I'll do the poster.
Thank you. Yeah.
And I'll send it to you, and then and between you and perhaps your sons, you could do the get it up and ask Satnam on the social media.
Thank you.
Okay. Brilliant. The next thing, December, we're doing the Christmas Tree Festival, so there is something going on. There's been a couple of ideas on films. Trying to remember the names of them. One of them was Kiss the Ground, wasn't it? By Fiona.
Oh yes, that's right. Yeah, that's really interesting.
Yeah.
But it is, you can only watch it if you've got Netflix. That's only
true. Oh, okay. Yeah.
So I think the one that Terry suggested, what was it called, Terry? It's gone out of my head as well. It was on Messenger.
I can't remember.
It was what normal is over. Normal is over. Yeah.
That rings a bell, yes.
And that one, I think you have to pay to watch it, but it's like you just pay for it on demand. So perhaps.
So it's a bit like, didn't we have to pay for fungi?
Yeah, that's fine. I think it's fine. So again, that would be good. We just need a date, and we need somebody to volunteer to do the promotion.
Do we want to promote it like the others that we've done, where we have a bit of a discussion afterwards? So
yeah,
I can't remember how we promoted those. Mostly up on the Facebook page, I think.
it was on Facebook, newsletter.
There's an Eventbrite thing created for them, wasn't there?
Yeah,
so people
there
signed
was.
up via Eventbrite.
Yeah, and there was a Zoom. So perhaps on that one, I'll propose a date and send it round, and then we'll get that sorted out offline, because I don't want to spend too long discussing that now. Then for next year,
just avoid Tuesdays.
Okay. Then we've got these different ideas. So there's a few things here. We've got a number of different ideas. We've got to work out which of these we want to do, or which we think we would like to do. Work out which event when, and I think what we really need is to have an events mini project team. That then, once we've got a plan that we've agreed as a committee, that an events team can kind of take over the actual running of the promotion of all of these different events. That's what I'd like to see.
That's a good idea.
Because I did a lot of the promotion for a lot of the events during this last year, and I don't think I can continue to do all of them it's been, you know, in the way that I was doing. So we need to find some people. Now, when we originally had our breakout groups and we were discussing events, we did have a little group that was looking at events. And I think that included, we had a meeting at Francesca's house. Can anyone remember being at that meeting? Or who was
Yes. Yeah.
Jeanette,
education. We I think did we call it education?
yeah. So I think, yeah. So I think perhaps if we could have a group of people that might be sort of prepared to take on events, and make sure that there's something happening, you know, every event, ideally every month, but perhaps every couple of months, and keep on top of the promotion and just make everything happen, then that would be really ideal. I'd really like this to be sort of taken offline and run by a little by a project group as a project, like we've got the green plan, like we've got the other things. So perhaps
is it something that we could talk next month? I'm so busy right now, and I'm going to need time. I haven't stopped since the end of July. I haven't stopped,
yeah,
and I'm just going to need a bit of time to be with my family again.
yeah, sure. I think whatever happens, whoever's involved in this, the idea is if there's a team doing this, and it's not just one person, and you can try and engage. This is an opportunity for bite-sized volunteers to get engaged and do bits of it, but there needs to be a coordinator, like there is a coordinator for you know, for the green plan, and that Kate's going to be the coordinator for homes and energy and so on. I think we need a coordinator, but I think that coordinator does not need to be doing absolutely all of these different things, and there's lots of things within events that are very, very suited to bite-sized volunteers. So that's what I'd really like to see, bringing bite-sized volunteers into this, but we need somebody to kind of.
Nicola, are you suggesting that there is just a separate group doing all the events?
A project team. I mean, it would be like plastic. We've got Plastic Free Watlington, and we've got the Green Plan, and we've got Homes and Energy, and we've got the website, and all of those different things. I think rather than this being discussed in the steering group because we don't have a separate group that is having a project team meetings to make sure that these things are happening. We're getting too far into the detail. I think the steering group, when it comes to events, could be discussing, okay, yeah, we think that these are the key strategic events that we want to have. Like we might say, okay, we think Homes and Energy Project kickoff meeting, that could be in, say, March. Should that be March? Should it be April? What we should have, which of these events are the most strategically important for us to organise? But that we're not getting into the nitty-gritty of who's going to do the poster and who's going to do the Eventbrite.
I find it's difficult to envisage how you could separate out the events from everything else, because they seem to me to be almost the purpose of the group in a sense, because they're and that the subgroup might be specific to the each event that's being done at the time.
So I think that the way that WCAG does this might be something that we can copy or lift. So they agree their calendar of events quite far in advance, like a year or two in advance. And they say, right, in this month we're doing this, and in that month we're doing that, and etc. And then every time there's an event coming up, they know who's in charge of organising that event. So the steering group oversees the calendar, but each activity, each event or each project then has a person responsible for it. So it might be that, because I think on this list of event ideas for 2021, some of them are one-offs, and some of them, so like film showing, will probably be multiple film showings, and the Homes and Energy Project is going to be, you know, a brainstorm. The Homes and Energy Project will look like the Green Plan project, so that will go on for the whole of next year once it starts. That's a bit different. So I think that maybe next month we could talk about what is the calendar, what's the calendar of events, and then if you've got a particular interest in a carbon workshop, you can raise your hand and say you'll organise that, or if no one in our group wants to organise it, then we can ask a bite-sized volunteer to organise it, perhaps, because that's something small then and it's a defined task. But whoever, I can oversee a couple of them, and I'm going to oversee the Homes and Energy project. But I think it would be best. So I agree with what Sophie and Andrea have both said, which is I think it would be best to have a calendar and agree that in advance, and not necessarily try to totally divorce it. Because I know from past experience, when we tried to do this before, it just ended up being back with me and you anyway, Nicola. So it's kind of, I think
I don't think it should be totally divorced. I don't think it should be totally divorced from the steering committee, because I think it's really important. But it's the nitty gritty that I want. That the event team can go. We need to decide as a steering group which events we think are important for us to run. But then,
so that's coming up with a calendar, really, isn't it? We come up with a calendar, and then.
But I'm not trying to disagree. I promise. I'm thinking if you have an events team, that events team then feels like they're responsible for all of the activity that's listed here for the whole of next year, and perhaps it's better for the steering group to be responsible for the overarching view of what the calendar looks like, and then for each individual event to have one person or 3 people responsible for that thing. So that it's the way the PTA, the school PTA runs as well, is, Karen or whoever's in charge for the year, and then Polly or whoever will run an event. And that person then knows they're only responsible for that event, so they know they're not going to get dragged into doing something else as well. Whereas if you've got an event subgroup, those people have got to commit for the whole year to 10 things. It might seem too much.
I just don't. It's just that you could then divide each event up into several actions, so that you could have so within an events team, you'd have somebody that always does the event, sets up the Eventbrite every single time, and somebody that always does the Canva poster every single time, and then that way, and somebody that always does the posters every single time, and that way, you're developing an expertise that person only does that thing, but they know how to do it, and they know how to do it quickly. With minimal effort. So rather than everybody having to be an expert in Canva and everything else.
Well, it might be that we can get a volunteer who's happy to always put up the posters for the events. They don't want to be involved in drawing posters, and they don't want to be involved in organising, but they're happy to go and put them up. Satnam might always be happy to do the social media. We might be able to find a graphic designer who's always happy to do the posters. It might be that we could do those tasks that you've just explained, but have the same person responsible for all of them, and they report into whoever's doing green investing, whoever's doing green plan, whoever's doing homes and energy. And every month that person's got a task, and it's just dependent. They're waiting for a brief then to see what that poster needs to look like and where those posters need to be put on what date.
Okay, that makes sense. So what I'll do is I'll say on Facebook, I'll make a specific request. We need people to help with our events next in 2021. Is there anyone that can sign up for helping out? You can sign up to do a poster, you can sign up to put posters up, you can sign up to set up the Eventbrite. You can sign up to help run an entire event, or just to contribute to an event, and see if we can try and get more people to help out with that, because it's a massive. This has been such a big thing. It's a huge amount of thing running those events, it's the way that it has been is not really sustainable. We need to have more people.
Well, it's mainly fallen to you, hasn't it? A lot of that stuff in the background that we sort of just take for granted, but it's an enormous amount of time for you to go and organise the Eventbrites, deal with the mailing list, sort out the poster, promote it, go and stick it up, go and collect it again. It's just an enormous amount of time. So if we can delegate 80% of those tasks to other people effectively, then that's going to be really helpful and mean that you can focus on doing other more value-added stuff.
Okay, so we'll talk about this in more detail next month. In the meantime, please, can anyone think about what other events might be good to run to add to this list, and then we can discuss what event when next month. That makes sense?
Yeah.
The other thing, kind of related, and I think probably we should do this next month as well, because of we're getting towards 10 o'clock according to my clock, which does run a little bit fast.
I'm sorry, I do need to sign off, Nicola. I'm not feeling very well, but thank you so much, everyone.
Thank you for coming.
Bye.
Bye.
Everyone.
Yes,
Bye,
thanks,
bye.
Andrea.
Let's discuss the blogs and content plan next month as well, because I think we're running out of time. And then what I would like to do as just a final thing to finish off the meeting is for everybody to say what their favourite moment was of the year and what their future hope is for next year. So you've got a bit of time to think about it. I'll kick off. And I'm going to say, I mean, there's been so many highlights, so it's obviously very difficult to choose. But for me, I'm going to say the Green Plan kick-off meeting, because I loved how we got such an amazing experts in the room. We had such a productive session with the breakout groups, and that as a result of that, we've been able to set up such a collaborative project that has taken on a whole life of its own. So that's my favourite moment of the year. And our hope is this year, unsurprisingly, is that we engage more people as bite-sized volunteers and really harness the power of the whole community in driving forward action on climate change at a local level. So that's my contribution. I can stop screen sharing now.
Are you going to be able to put those slides up on the shared drive?
Yes, they're already there.
Oh, good. Right. Excellent.
Keith?
I think my favourite moments were the several film festivals and getting unexpected people to attend the discussions on those. So I thought that managed to get involved the community in a way that we originally didn't anticipate having to do. So I think that worked pretty well.
Yeah, it was good. Thank you for your help with that. And your future hope next year.
Well, I think that the bite size initiative is good, because I think it's everyone's looking at a way of getting the community back involved with things, and because of the restrictions, we are obviously finding it difficult to engage large numbers of people. So I think the bite size initiative is a way of circumventing that. So I'm hoping that we will get more people to become involved in a way that doesn't require huge commitment from them.
Brilliant. Jeanette?
Well, it's tempting to pick something that I've done recently because it's fresh in my mind, like the apple pressing. But actually, if I look back over the whole year, I think probably the Eco Fair was, for me, the highlight, just because it involves so many people in the community and the school, and the way we just transformed the normally boring canteen area. It was just really cool. And my hope, I think, is similar to Keith, that we can just get more volunteers, more people involved, because I think it's such a challenge, with having a small group of people trying to do so much. Thank you. Yeah.
To continue with what Jeanette said, I would agree that the Eco Fair for me was also a very pivotal moment. That's the one that showed me that there was a big appetite for what we're doing, or what we were aiming at doing, which involved all parts of the community with all sorts of expertise and enthusiasm, and I really loved it. And the icing on the cake for me on that day was that I met 2 ladies from Mexico, and I'm still in touch with them. Isn't that amazing?
Oh, wow.
I know. They were visitors, and they were not meant to stay there for very long, but hey, they stayed a lot longer. So yeah, so that's really good. Now, and also it showed us that we could make it happen. So that was a big thing. Then moving on to next year, my personal wish is to involve young people.
Yeah,
I think that's key. Letting them what they want to do is their thing, but enabling them, because I think that at the moment they are so restricted, and I think we need to give them, to open some doors for them.
okay. Fiona?
I think I'll probably say the Green Plan meeting, but one of my reasons for saying that is it was kind of the last thing I went to where there were lots of people, and therefore that makes it seem even more special, because hasn't normal become special? But it was a very optimistic meeting as well, and there was a huge amount of interest, and it was a good gathering together of people. My hope for next year is that we have a community orchard for Watlington, because I think a community orchard brings people together in all sorts of ways, and incorporates all sorts of things that I would like to see the community doing, and brings all sorts of benefits. So that's my hope for next year.
Lovely. Kate?
Hello. I can't really choose. I think it was it was just such an amazing year, actually, and I'm really staggered to watch that presentation with so many things that happened. I mean, personally, the most fun thing was like making Christmas decorations, because it was just really fun. Sort of from a personal perspective as well, interviewing, doing the Q&A with the MP. I mean, that was enormously challenging, and I got a lot out of it, and I got a lot of really nice feedback. I mean, it wasn't a fun event, but it was something really, it made us, but it kind of gave us another level of kudos, because we could get him, and lots of other people were like, how did you get him? Well, we just asked, but he came and he contributed. But I really like what you just said about that event, because it was very much, I don't know if it was like was it like the 12th or something of March, our event? It was I don't know, I could work it out. It was around then. And yeah, it was I remember Nicola and I, the day of the event, saying, do you think we're going to have to cancel? And people had started to pull out. And it was just amazing. And I remember standing on a chair at some point to call order near the end of that meeting. It was just such... the impact, having the experts in the room was just brilliant, because it was the first time we gathered other people who were expert. Up until then, me and Nicola had been like writing presentations and doing our own research, and that was the first time we really got other groups involved and lots of people, lots of experts. So I think my hope for next year is to do as much next year as we've done this year, to achieve as much, to continue building on it. I think it's been amazing, and just to carry that momentum forward in what will, I'm sure, carry on being really challenging times. So I think that would be amazing. If we can do as much next year as this year, then we've done really well. So yeah, I really want to acknowledge the effort Nicola's put in this year, because it's been the most, and also, you know, covering when I had to step back. So yeah, I'm really grateful for that, and I'm super proud that everyone carried on, and you've all been amazing. So thank you.
Thank you, Kate. And I think finally that's Terry.
My clock stopped chiming. I'm torn between sort of what Fiona said about and Kate about the Green Plan meeting, because it was so close to closed, lockdown. But then what Keith said about the film evenings, because that was kind of the best next thing to socialising. So I'm kind of torn between those two because of the lockdown association.
A pre-COVID favourite and a post-COVID favourite.
Yeah. But they're both favourites because of COVID.
Yeah.
The hope for the future. I've been working on eco houses and renewable energies paper to give to the developers Providence Land for sites B and C in my role on the Neighbourhood Plan Advisory Board, and the Watlington Transport Group. And I finally just about got to the point of sending the paper to the developers, and just about got to the point of doing the questionnaire for the transport group, although it's not as relevant because of COVID, so it's very frustrating. So my hope is that one of those will be successful. Either we'll get nice eco-friendly homes and renewable energy, or we'll get some good transport solutions for the town.
Yeah. Brilliant. Thank you very much, and a big round of applause for everybody. Yeah, thank you. That's it. Well done. Right, so the normal things at the end of this is Keith, Mr. Doodle Poll. If you would kindly put a doodle
November,
poll.
yes, for roughly a month's
November.
time.
Yeah, so that we can, which we will need to talk about events calendar for next year, and our subjects and content for the Watlington Times. So we're going to be maybe not quite as organised as the Watlington Environment Group, but we'll be inspired by them to be to do things with a little bit more time planning than we have done. So that's the key thing for next month. So you can send a doodle poll on that, and then other than that, it's the recycling talk.
Can I just add it's a small point, but it's a real bugbear of mine. I hate seeing these non-reusable masks thrown on the ground.
Yeah.
And I think we as a group should do something to say how wrong this is, and to promote the fact that I've seen posters around Watlington that there's, I don't know who it is, I don't know if it's Jill Cottle or somebody's making masks.
Oh, Jill's making them.
Making them available for free or for very little money, and I think some of the money is going to charity or something.
Is this a Facebook help poster?
Yeah, it's been in the Watlington Times.
Yeah, I just think, you know, we as a group, I don't know whether we can do it on the website or just say, you know, spare a thought for the environment. You know, you make your own masks or buy a reusable mask. You know, you can make your own mask from scraps of fabric, you know, whatever. I know it's a small thing, but the amount of rubbish being generated by COVID is enormous.
Well, actually, it's quite a big thing because
Fiona,
all the PPP is
I know,
becoming a problem.
You think of all the plastic aprons.
In the oceans.
Yeah, exactly.
Fiona, could you write a blog post on it?
Well, I've rather jumped into that one, haven't I? Yeah, I'm happy to do that. And I took a photograph the other day of a mask abandoned on the floor, and I make my own mask from just scraps of leftover material, or, you know, shirts that no longer fit, whatever. So I think it's as you say, Keith, it's not a small point. It's a big thing when you consider all of the stuff that's, you know, and I know we have to keep people safe, but there are responsible ways to do it, aren't there?
Be safe, it's not responsible.
Is you can go to the parish office. That's where you get the masks from.
Oh, okay.
No, that's all you have to do. Is whenever it's open, you go and you can make a donation as well. And if you have any material you want to donate, you can do that as well. If you have any cotton material.
Really? Brilliant. So is that on the parish council website, or if I just go to the parish office, I'll find out about it?
Yes.
You just go to the parish office. It was announced quite a while ago, this face mask help.
Yeah. I've just seen a poster about it, that's all.
Yes.
Okay.
If you do write something, we can post it on the Plastic Free Facebook group as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you do, you know, a blog, you could do quite a general blog about the waste, and then you can focus it in and make it Watlington specific with the specific advice about where to go for a reusable mask.
Yeah.
I think they're so nice. So, you know,
I think it would be useful to understand why people use disposable masks, because there could be a reason at times. It doesn't mean it's the right reason necessarily. But for instance, my son uses them a lot. He works in a pub, and when he comes back, you know, he works quite frequently, and therefore he needs several masks, and he just doesn't want to use it again. And I'm not sure he's reassured by normal masks, by the material ones.
Yeah, I mean, you need several, and you need to wash them.
Absolutely, but he, for instance, is not. He's reassured by the ones we buy from the chemist. I'm explaining, you know, what's happening there. He's got asthma. He's obviously exposed to, you know, at school, at the pub, that kind of thing. And for him, it's very reassuring to know he's got 3 layers protecting him and protecting other people, obviously.
So the cotton masks can have 3 layers.
Pardon?
Yeah.
Sorry?
Well, the cotton masks can have 3 layers.
I know. So I think I think it's the kind of thing that we need.
No, you're right. We need to, yeah.
Understanding why people do it and how we can change that. And getting good habits as well. So for instance, you know, he says all that, but he comes back from the pub and he puts the mask on the chest of drawers. I'm not sure that's the right thing to do.
Mm.
So, I mean, I'm not sure we're there to tell people what to do either. But
no,
I think
that's not our role. I think it's
no,
just...
it's not. No, exactly.
No, it's absolutely not our role. But
it's behaviour. It's behaviour, yeah. And what's behind.
Ask people not to dispose of them properly.
Yes, I mean, that's it. If you use a non-reusable one, dispose of it properly, basically.
Yeah.
Don't just throw it down on the pavement. Yeah.
Or on the chest of drawers.
Yes. That's true. Yeah. Well, I'm happy to do a bit of research into that. And
Fiona, I've just shared a link to a post on, not on Medium, but on another blogging platform that's quite a nice blog on types of face masks and making your choices. So for example, if you're in a work environment and you need a face shield, or you definitely need a medical grade mask, or, you know, blah blah blah, it's all in there, so just copy it out.
Okay, thank you.
Plagiarism.
Still from far.
Yeah,
it's only going on the Watlington Climate Action Group.
If anyone's interested, our daughter makes masks as well. Coco Collect.
Oh.
There's some amazing masks and great designs.
Cool.
Right.
Sorry
about that.
That's all right.
I'd like to thank Nicola for everything she's been doing.
Yes.
Oh, yes. Thank you. And well, and likewise.
All the articles and organising us.
Yeah, keeping the focus, and very well, very good.
Thank you. Brilliant. Well, and we've only overrun by about 10 minutes.
Wow,
well done. Very good.
So yeah, thank you very much everybody for coming. Thank you to Keith.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye bye.
Bye.
Bye.